All right, let's get started. Good morning, everyone. I am Nikki Gandhi, Associate Director of Community Engagement at CRIO and head of the Partners Program. I am so excited to welcome everyone to our second annual Partner Expo. To anyone here, whether you're running a site, helping one operate, or are just an industry professional curious about what solutions and tech are really moving the needle for sites. Thank you so much for being here. Those are all great reasons to be here. And to our partners in the room, thank you so much for working with us at CRIO, helping deliver sites some seamless workflows, and for being here at this event. Really quick, for those of you who aren't familiar with CRIO, CRIO is a site-first leading clinical trial management platform. We're offering CTMS and eSource modules, and our partners program, launched about 2 years ago, is a curated ecosystem of over 32 and growing vetted site technology and service vendors. It is not just a directory, it is truly an intentional group of companies that move the needle for research sites with their CRIO-complementary solutions. Over the next 4 days at this expo, you'll meet some of these partners solving real site problems across patient sourcing, enrollment, operations, and business growth. And we're hoping that you leave with a clear map of which ones truly matter for your site. If you're running a site or a trial, this is truly the vendor ecosystem worth paying attention to. So we want you to leave with a short list of vendor solutions that can solve your site pain points. Or if you're here to just know a little bit more about this market of site service vendors, you'll come out knowledgeable on the vendors in the industry that are really fueling site efficiency and how they're doing it. Really quick about how this expo works. It's 4 days, kicking off at 11 a.m. Eastern each day. Today is day one. We're going all the way through Friday. Each partner session is 15 minutes. It's not a full sales demo. They are very tight focused content, and it will be about their CRIO-complementary solution, which is currently available to sites. So we've organized everything into 4 categories. We have one, and you'll see all of these on our agenda on our landing page. One is find your patients. So these are partners that are bringing new qualified patients into your site pipelines, whether through your existing data or new channels, all integrated directly into CRIO. Our next category is to convert your patients. So those are partners that automate the administrative work of turning those identified patients into enrolled study participants. Our third category is lighten your operational load. So these are partners that are taking operational burden off of your team. This is e-source creation, data entry, implementation support, QA, staffing, invoicing support, all of those great things so your site teams can actually focus on patients and focus on what matters for the trial. And then our last category is grow your business. So these are partners that are establishing financial infrastructure for sites. They're automating your feasibility workflow. They're helping sites find the right studies, connect with sponsors, and they're helping sites scale their infrastructure to truly compete and grow. So those are our 4 categories. We have the full agenda, the full 4 day agenda on our landing page. We'll link that in a few seconds here. We want you to review it and pick the sessions that truly matter to your site or are of interest to you. Go ahead and skip what doesn't, or stay for all 4 days and all the sessions. If you want to grab, a partner one-on-one or want to get outreach from a partner representative, you can indicate that at the end of session poll. So each session will have like a 30-second poll. Please do fill it out. It'll also help us improve the Partner Expo in the coming years. So give us your feedback. And then I'll hand it off really quick to my colleague Nuha here. She's going to preview today's agenda.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to day one of the Partner Expo. This morning, we've got a fantastic lineup of partner sessions, each built around a different way to grow and strengthen your CRIO-powered site. We'll start with Trially, showing how AI can help you find your patients, surfacing eligible patients from any source and engaging them automatically before pushing them into CRIO. From there, clinical research billing will help you grow your business by making sure every billable procedure gets captured and reconciled properly. Next, Research Study Rockstar will show how to convert your patients faster with quality referrals delivered directly into CRIO. Then, Searchlight Research Consulting will show how to convert your patients fast. We'll talk about lightening your operational load with fractional support for implementation, e-source transitions, and staffing gaps. We'll follow that with Interra, another way to convert your patients, this time through human-like AI pre-screening and scheduling. And we'll wrap up the morning with Trial IQ, who will show how to find your patients by matching accessible populations in community and infusion settings with CRIO sites. And then we'll hand it back over for Nikki for the first speaker introductions.
Thank you. Really quick housekeeping, and then we'll get you started, Kyle. So we've built 5-minute breaks in between each session. So step away, grab water, stretch, grab a coffee. And at the end of each session, you'll see a poll. It's super quick, but if you want to get connected with a partner rep, that will be your way to do it. And if you have questions, drop them in the chat. If we don't get to them, feel free to reach out to us at crio.partners@clinicalresearch.io. But we'll try to definitely get to all of your questions. So these are the vendors across the next 4 days that should be on your radar, and we're proud to have them here. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Kyle McAllister with Triley, and he's going to be our first session.
Awesome. Thanks, Nikki and Nuha. And thanks to CRIO more broadly for the opportunity to speak to you guys. I just pulled up my screen. Can you guys see that? Okay,
Yep.
cool. Yeah, excited to be here. Thank you so much for the chance. And we were at the first annual CRIO Partner Expo, so excited to be back here. I'm going to walk you through, I changed the title here a little bit because I wanted to focus in on some of what I like to call the reality on the ground, like what's actually happening with real sites and real customers and how is AI actually impacting workflow. And for us, the most important thing is enrollments. How are we actually driving those for the sites that we're working with? I'm Kyle McAllister. I'm the CEO of Triley. I have a background in the EMR world and working directly at a site network, doing this work for real, very manually. And then now we've built solutions to help solve some of these problems. So before I talk much about, I'm going to do a little bit of an overview of Triley, but before I get there, I wanted to talk about the why now. So for us, the why now for AI and LLMs specifically was captured really well in this JAMA article where they took a team of research coordinators or recruiters and gave some AI to be able to go pre-screen patients and then contact them. And then others kept the manual chart review, manual outreach effort. And I think these two charts show really perfectly how it works and why it's why now, right? So for chart A here on the left, generally like AI and manual chart review efforts got to a roughly similar eligibility percentage. Like they got to a place where the percent of the population who was eligible for a specific trial was roughly the same at the end here, but it took months longer to do it manually, chunking through chart reviews, taking, manual process through there. So we get there much, much faster. And the end impact is in chart B. So if we can tell you really fast who the right people are that you should be talking to and focus you on the right people to begin with, you're going to drive more enrollments because you're going to be talking to the right people to begin with. And so for us, that's really the why now. What we've built around those capabilities, and I promise I will do as little Triley selling, but to kind of orient you to what we have. Triley Match is our patient finding solution. So we can hook into clinical data, largely EMRs, and run an AI engine that takes your complex criteria and finds the people that match that study. I'm going to show that to you in a second. But the end output there is like we make feasibility really easy and statistically driven. And then we also make chart review fast. Sites cut 80 to 90% of their chart review time using Triley. And then we built a second product after we would go find many, many patients from the EMR that didn't get contacted. We built Triley Connect, a solution that can actually go outreach patients from Triley Match or from any place you're actually getting leads today. So Meta ads, we actually run our own ads for some customers now too. It's something we're working on, but the end output there is like Triley Connect, Margo, our AI agents are actually outreaching patients, screening them for trials, and then booking them back into your sites in this instance, CRIO. So we could actually book appointments for you guys directly into CRIO. The end value there is speed to lead. Every patient coming through is getting contacted quickly and repeatedly, and screening volume. If you're running a diabetic trial in a patient population of 100,000, you're gonna have thousands of people to go talk to, and we can make that really, really quick. So I'll stop there on the Triley overview. I'm gonna go now into, well, I lied. I'll give you one more, why you should trust us. We've done this a lot across a lot of data. We've made a lot of phone calls. We worked across 154 different protocols, connected to many EMRs. So we've done this for a while now. So I'm going to jump into some case studies. So what actually, like real life scenarios where we've actually worked with real sites and had impact here using AI. So first one is a Connect case study. So our outreach solution. This is a physician group that we work with that actually uses both the Match and Connect product. They're a large 17 clinic physician group. They have about 70 physicians across those groups. They've been purely physician driven for a really long time. So all physician referrals, all EMR patient finding for trials. We came to them and said, hey, why don't we use Connect to go drive you net new external referrals into the system? And so we actually started running Facebook meta ads on their behalf, and had Margot, our AI agent, actually screening every patient that came through those ads. And so for the site, like what that actually ended up feeling like is like magically people from outside of their system that they never would have talked to before popped up on their calendar, and they ultimately had qualified leads that they could go talk to that they didn't have to go screen. That's been super effective. We got them 2 enrollments in the first 2 weeks that we started with them, and we're now at 8 after the last couple of months working with them. And it's been really awesome. It's just like that's work that they just didn't have the capacity to go do and to go make those phone calls, figure out how to place those ads, et cetera, that we were able to kind of like magically make show up for them. And then same product, but different case study, trying to kind of also highlight some like different ways we use this technology to support sites. But this is a totally different site network. So site network that's completely dedicated. They have 3 sites, no EMRs, all ad-driven recruitment. Their big problem is they have thousands of patients that come through meta ads on a monthly basis that just ghost out of their process. They don't show up. They click that they're interested, but then don't do anything. And they don't have time to do anything about them. Those leads basically fall completely away. They're basically like wasted time, money, and effort that they can't do anything about. And so it's a perfect use case for AI to be able to go rescreen all of those patients, re-engage them, and pull them back into the system. And that's exactly what we're doing. So Margot is texting and calling those folks, re-engaging them, and then scheduling them back in for enrollment. And across that, doing that work with them for the last about 7 months, we've driven 22 enrollments out of a population that was basically completely written off for them to this point. So pretty cool outcome, and very, very different use case from the one we just talked about before. And now I'm going to switch gears and talk to you a couple about the Match side of what we do. So the EMR patient finding part of what we do. We work with a really large oncology group. So this is a physician group with many locations in Florida and California. The kind of key pain point here is they run fairly complex trials. They're running, in this specific case study is on a complex breast cancer study. It required multiple genetic markers that were buried inside charts that their team just didn't have time to go read. So it's kind of like a perfect example of that why now slide that I showed you earlier, is they just didn't have time to go read all these charts and find who was eligible. After about 6 months of running the study on their own, they had 6 enrollees. We got connected to their EMR, ran the study, found them 68 really high quality leads. And then in the first month after we got started with them, they enrolled 5 people. So like I said, like quickly get them that eligibility and determination, and then you can go enroll much, much faster. Maybe they would have got to those 5 enrollees on their own, but it would have taken them another 6 months or more to get there. So we're able to make them move really, really quickly. And now it's the #1 recruiting source at that site. And then the last one I'll show you before I hop in and show you the product a little bit as well, is a slightly different case study of how we use Match as well. This is a cardiology site. I would say like medium-sized, single location cardiology location. This instance, they were running a heart failure study that they were really struggling with. After a year and a half, they only had one enrollment. They were kind of struggling with one, finding the right patients, but getting in front of them as well. And so when we installed Triley, we did two things. One, like we ran through the whole population and found the right fits for the trial. But since they have one CRC across, I think she was running about 8 different studies, she didn't have time to go, like call the patients that we were ultimately pulling in. And so what we did, because we knew when patients were going to be scheduled, we could take everyone who was a really strong fit, lay them out on the upcoming schedule, and then make sure that both the doctors and the CRC knew who was physically coming through the site. And that was super impactful for them. So after 4 months, they were able to enroll another 6 patients. They went from the problem child of the study with the sponsor breathing down their neck to the top enroller. They started flying that CRC out to top academic medical centers to be like, what did you do to make this thing actually work? So hopefully those things are helpful. I'm going to jump over to a demo, but I do have a leave behind here that I can either distribute through the CRIO team or others. You can also just access it through our website. We have an ebook on a lot of the things I just talked through on our website that talks through like why AI for enrollment should be where you invest right now. So I think I have a few minutes left here. I'm going to do a really quick tour of the product and show you how we actually integrate with CRIO directly. And so I'm going to show you 2 different parts of what we do. This is Triley Match. So what you're looking at is a TAVR study here with the criteria, the inclusion-exclusion criteria here in the middle. This would be an example of all the searches and protocols that you may be running across your sites or your site. And then on the right are all the patients that we found from the EMR that we've connected to that were a fit. So to get here, our sites that we work with can upload a protocol, literally PDF format, like full sponsor protocol, drop it in here. We have an AI agent that basically takes that and reads through it, finds the IE criteria, and then really importantly, translates that. Like we talk about like protocol and EMR are like the same medical language, but two very different dialects. So like kind of the same language, but not quite. We have an AI agent that basically turns this into the EMR focused dialect and then goes and reads every single chart. So it spits out the patients that match. It gives deep details on why that patient is a match for every line of the criteria, and then cites its sources fully. So like literally which table within the EMR did this come from? If it's a note, if it's it could be a PDF document. We read through everything to go find that info. We also spit out really nice views for things like feasibility. Folks often screenshot this and just drop it right into their FQ to prove that they're a good fit for a study. So, but how this actually integrates and why we're here today is this integrates directly with CRIO. So as our customers are finding, maybe we find a good fit for this study with Nancy Gonzalez, we can directly push this patient straight to CRIO. It lands in your prospecting queue for that study and that specific site that you're working with. Super, super clean. So you don't have to be pulling exports of patients out of systems and re-importing them other places. The other piece I'll show you is Triley Connect. So this is basically kind of the pane of glass by which you can monitor everything Margot's doing on your behalf. So she's out there like logging into the EMR, seeing who's scheduled and texting them before the visit. You can watch as those campaigns progress, as she's contacting folks and pushing them towards ultimately scheduling them. See what's happening with every one of those candidates. So like full transcript level details on what the conversation that's happening with the patient, because this is actual AI like chatting with those patients directly. And then ultimately pushing patients into CRIO. So Margot's able to be aware of your current schedule and then book patients straight onto your calendar or your recruiter's calendars to be able to have the deeper screening level visit with the patient. this also enables us to be able to do things like nudge patients as that appointment comes up, and then monitor if they don't show up for their appointment based on what's documented in CRIO. So we can really be like, have Margot be very involved in making sure patients are actually engaged and showing up as much as possible. So I flew through all that. I know I went really fast. I think I hit my my timing right here, but I think CRIO is also, that Nikki and the team are going to put out a poll here. I'll hop back to that view with my ebook link if you want to click that. But thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Kyle. Yes, Triley has been a long time ecosystem partner, and they've clearly built a very seamless workflow that sites truly love. So thanks so much, Kyle. Appreciate it. And we are going to go to a short 5-minute intermission. We'll be back at 11:25. But like Kyle said, there is a poll on your screen. Please do fill it out. If you'd like to get in touch with Kyle's team, this will make that very easy. So thank you, Kyle.
Thanks all.
All right. Let's get started with our next session. I'd like to introduce Kristi Etchberger, CEO of Clinical Research Billing. She's going to talk about, well, first of all, she's a CRIO whiz. She's going to talk about how you can use your CRIO financial data for reconciliation, invoicing, and reporting. I'll hand it over to you, Kristi.
Well, thank you, Nikki. I do need access to be able to share my screen, though. Is that here? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me share.
Do you have that arrow share at the bottom?
Okay, got it. I'm sorry. Might be a CRIO whiz, but still working on Zoom. Okay, so what I want to talk about today is how to use CRIO for billing, because we work in your system and we will just get access to CRIO and work in CRIO for your to invoice and reconcile, make sure that you're getting paid. So what we said was, how to make sure that you get paid for all of the procedures that you do. And CRIO does a great job of that, because you really can link it right into the source and find out if it was done. But that depends on if the source is set up right. So if the source is set up properly, then yes, you can get everything invoiced. But if it's not, and if you don't have access to put in the billing items that you need, then you still might be missing some things. So what I want to share today is this is our sandbox. So all of this is made up. This study is completely made up. And as you'll see, even the subjects are made up from some movie I was watching at some point. So I want to talk about how to get the items that you may have in your budget. Some of the harder ones, sometimes, for example, reconsents. Well, actually, they said to start with a tip. So my first tip I want to be is, don't put unscheduled visits out here in your calendar. Use the unscheduled visit function as CRIO has it set up. Don't add an unscheduled visit out here, because then your billing items won't pick up properly. It won't trigger the procedures that are billable on an unscheduled visit if you've put it out here as a visit. And I still see sites doing that. So I recommend you just use CRIO's unscheduled visit as they have it set up. So the 4 procedures I was going to talk about today are reconsents, dry ice, stipends and travel, and SAEs, because those are sometimes a little bit harder to pick up. They might get missed. You might have to go somewhere else to find them. Yes, it's possible, but here's an easier way to do it. So if you're using the informed consent function you upload a new consent, then it will push that consent it will actually push this function into your source. And then the next time the coordinator's working through the visit, this one should come up. And that should give you the coordinator the chance to say whether it's an initial consent or a reconsent. In this case, you're going to say reconsent, and then we can link to it from billing. So we should be able to get the reconsents this way. And it's an easy way to get them in. So please be sure to use that function and use the informed consent function within CRIO to get that set up. And then, assuming these are all real procedures, coordinators working along, what we recommend is that when you're working through the procedures, actually put your questions in here. Because if the coordinator's working on doing the labs, doing all this stuff, they're going to know at that point if dry ice was used or not. They're going to have to remember or go back and check or find out. But they're in the lab talking to the lab techs or however they're doing it, and they're going to know, was dry ice used for this shipment? Yes or no. And then with this, you can link to that too. So that's just very helpful to have that question right there in the flow. Same for example, for a liver biopsy. Was the ultrasound guidance used? That's a big ticket item. You really want to know if that was used or not for in a way that billing can actually find it. Did the patient stay in the facility for more than an hour? Well, maybe that affects your bed fee. Maybe you get a longer bed fee, or you charge a bed fee, or you don't charge a bed fee. So how long did that patient stay is a nice thing to know for billing. Were the live samples sent? That's something you might want to link to. But then again, was dry ice used? Did they use another batch of dry ice for this? Was the patient paid the biopsy stipend? Because that's an extra stipend. So you want to be able to come in and link to that. And was the caregiver paid a stipend for the biopsy? So those are things you're going to want to link to be sure that you get them. And they don't always show up otherwise, unless you go looking for them. For SAEs, again, sure, SAEs are in the log and the reg docs, but you have to actually go find them and go look for them and make sure that you got them. Excuse me. So just ask the question, was an SAE reported for this visit? And then you have the information that you need and all of this on the SAE, and you can go find it in the log if you need to, but at least you know that it happened and you're over there looking for it, and you make sure that you'll get it billed for that patient. So, and patient stipend. So again, in the flow of things, was the patient paid for the visit? Did the diary stipend get paid? Sometimes those are hard to catch as well. Yes, it was. Was the caregiver stipend paid? Was the patient reimbursed for travel? If you're paying Ubers and reimbursing Ubers, you can have them put in the amount right here. You're going to have to go looking for it. But if they click this and it comes up in your billing, then at least you'll go look and you'll be able to know what it was. You can ask them to upload the receipts to the visit docs, which is really helpful if they'll put the Uber receipt up. Really nice if they redact it, but you can redact it. But you can at least go find it and get those receipts. But at least you know it's there and you know what the amount should be and you're looking for it. The way some sites do it is they come and they have this one invoiceable procedures module to add in, and they just put it on every visit. The problem with doing that is the coordinator's already run through a long visit and may not be in the mood to come in and answer a bunch more questions that have already been addressed theoretically. He was doing the labs a long time ago, doing all this stuff a while ago, and now you're coming back and asking it all over again. You may be asking questions that aren't particularly relevant. If this is always in every source that's just the same way, then the coordinator may not take it as seriously. She knows it's for billing and just run through it. So I think that if you put it in the flow of the study, it'll be very natural. They'll know the answer, things will get entered, and you won't have to come back and have this extra module that may or may not fit well with that study and would require additional changes anyway. So we recommend doing that. And then where you see that, when you come over here, you come into the financials, then you're going to set it up. And many of you may know this, but you come over here to the financials and you go over here and you want to select advanced, and you can say SAE, and here's your SAE reporting, because we said, was an SAE reported during this visit? Yes, it was. So you want to add that. And that's going to come back here. It'll be down here at the bottom. So you can put your SAE fee in here for that. Here's your informed consent. This one links up to informed consent. So let's say that's 165. If it's a reconsent, just making up a number. The little orange thing makes it invoiceable. And here's this may be 400. And so you set this up so that you're getting these things each time. Otherwise, people have to go check the logs, or they have to go check the reg docs, or they may not be able to find it. Here's the dry ice for the liver biopsy. Here's your pregnancy test, the physical exam. Okay, now this was the point on just using this unscheduled visits in CRIO the way that they're supposed to be used. Because then if you did a full physical exam on an unscheduled visit, it'll actually show up here. Whereas if you have it as part of the calendar and a regular visit, then it's going to think that that unscheduled visit was a base visit, and it won't give you that. So if you're doing billable procedures on an unscheduled visit, you want that unscheduled visit to show up in this column and those procedures here, where you can say this physical is only billable for an unscheduled visit. Okay, and then it doesn't bother you with every physical that you've done all the way along. You're only picking it up on unscheduled. So that's why that's important. Here's the daybed fee. Did the patient stay in the facility more than an hour? Additional daybed fee. You can get those kinds of things if you set up your questions properly. Here's your stipend just for the unscheduled visit. Maybe it's not billable on your regular visits, but it is billable on unscheduled. So again, you set it up for your unscheduled visit, and then you can collect it. Repeat labs, you can set up all kinds of things. It's fantastic because you can go in here. So let's go in and look for dry ice. And actually, it isn't going to show up. So if you if you try to search for dry ice, it actually doesn't show up. But if you go down to your labs, because you know where you put the question, then you can find the question here, and you can say yes. And so then you can come down and you can say, yes, I did use dry ice for that. And you can put in your dry ice fee. So, and I do recommend that you put dry ice into your budgets and try to get paid for it, because it's a major expense. So that's the way we set those up. So then those will show up over here when you go to invoices, because we clicked on the orange invoiceable button. And so now those will show up over here if that was done. And so you can see that some of these fees are showing up. There's quite a few invoices to create, and you can see that that all this is ready to be put onto an invoice. You do that by coming down here, go back to overview, and creating your invoice, and then adding things to these invoices over here. And you can add them as you choose, search, or whatever. Your invoiceable, your fees are here, and your subject items are here. So that's a good way to do it. Do people have other hard to get invoiceable items? I think sometimes local labs are hard to get. But what I would recommend for that is maybe you put a local lab. If you have a bunch of local labs, at least put the question in where local labs done. And then you can maybe get the lab rec uploaded into the file docs, and you can go looking for those. You can look for, you can add in those kinds of procedures and try to go find them. Does anybody have any questions or stump the presenter ideas on things you want to see? No? So, well, I guess I'll finish this off with reconciliation. What you do is you go over here to pay your invoices, and let's see. Here's the trick I like to do. If you have like a big, long, if you have an invoice, you can put it in here. There are two ways to reconcile it. Let's say you put in a payment here, direct deposit. All right. You guys make this difficult, don't you? Today, let's do that. And right today. And your payment number. And let's make this one 10,000. And you submit. There are two ways to pay this. You can either come down and you're looking at all this stuff and you don't know where it is. It happens to be that one. You can either just click there, or if it's a long, complicated invoice with a lot of things, you can come back here and you can say, yeah, it was this one. I want to pay it. You can say full payment. Click on that. and voila, it's paid. That's my little workaround on getting things, especially complicated invoices. You got all that stuff. You don't want to have to go find it. Just go over there and do that. Okay, so that gets me to 11:39. That's pretty good. So this is what we do for our clients is we handle their, we work with them to set up the studies. We handle their invoicing, reconciliations, follow-ups, reporting, and so forth on the financials, just to make sure you guys do get paid. You do the work. We want to make sure you get paid for it. You deserve it. So that's what we do. So please go to the poll and give us a call if you need anything.
Thanks, Kristi.
Thank you, Nikki.
Poll is up. Kristi is, like I said, a CRIO whiz, obviously, as you can see, but she's been in our industry for a long time and has helped sites a lot. So I recommend reaching out to her. Indicate in the poll, we'll get you connected with her team. And we will meet back here in 5 minutes. Grab a cup of coffee, finish your data entry, and we'll see you in 5. Thanks, Kristi.
Thank you.
All right, let's get started with our next session. I'd like to introduce John Miko, Commercial Manager at Research Study Rockstar. He is going to talk about how RSR helps sites get quality engaged study referrals directly into CRIO.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, me here from sunny Chicago today. Hope it's well where everybody is calling in from as well. Thank you for that intro, Nikki. If anybody has not met me or heard of Research Study Rockstar before, it's great to meet you for the first time. I did a little bit of a look through the attendee list today and saw some familiar names. So if you have met me before, it's nice to be here with you again. So as Nikki mentioned, we're going to jump into the core of the Rockstar offering, which is helping sites find and enroll participants, but also focus a little bit about some of our new structures that are in place today, and also some things we're working on to come in the near future as well. So excited to jump in and get rolling with that. I'm going to pull up my slides here. All right. Everybody's going to see a big bright pop of pink and orange here. So as you can tell with a name like Research Study Rockstar, we like to do it bright and loud. So if you weren't awake before this, hopefully you are now. But we've had a great set of presentations today. So I think everybody's engaged and ready to go. So all right, let me get into presenter view here. I'll do one quick check. Nikki, is this coming okay? Everything is looking visually through this share?
Yes, I can see.
Perfect. All right. So here at Research Study Rockstar, we like to describe ourselves as full service trial advertising support. But to those who are seeing this logo behind me, will notice that that says Clinical Site Services, CSS. So I always like to take my first slide just to explain a little bit about the company and the two brands that we operate under. CSS is the parent company, been around for a bit over 20 years. So I think a familiar face to a lot of folks, but within the last year, a new logo. So this might be the first time you're seeing the updated presentation of that. I'm going to spend the bulk of the time today talking about my team at Research Study Rockstar, but just a quick highlight on CSS. Global sponsor CRO network support, both domestically and internationally, digital support, local enrollment specialist, boots on the ground, all that good stuff. But jumping over to the Research Study Rockstar side, for those where this is maybe your first exposure to Rockstar, we are your recruitment partner that takes a full service integrated approach with you to build great campaigns to get the type of participant you want in the door for your studies. So we always like to take a holistic partner-based approach where we are incorporating both our experience with, again, over 20 years on under the CSS umbrella, supporting recruitment campaigns with your local expertise on your geographic and your patient population on how to best blend the minds to build great campaigns that, again, are full service on our side, including creative creation, active planning and optimization of campaigns with our in-house marketing team, and then a referral portal where we deliver to you participants, but also topic of the day, where they can be directly pushed through CRIO's recruitment API directly into CRIO as well. So as a trusted partner in the CRIO partner directory, we have an easy setup to kick off quickly where you have a trial that we are partnering on. A quick flip of a few switches is how quickly we can kick off and start getting participants into CRIO for you. So the general capabilities overview, I'll get through rather quickly because I want to focus on this pre-pooling support, which is a bit of what's new with Rockstar in 2026. But top line, we support all therapeutic areas. Our most common cardiovascular disease, CNS, dermatology, pulmonology, but we usually have a little bit of everything going on within a month. And we have two core structures, what we call budget-based and our pre-pooling support. Budget-based is that more traditional, you have local advertising dollars on a trial, and we build out a campaign that correlates to a budget to length structure. So we always partner on this structure for budget-based because we find that best aligns your incentive with our incentive. So I would love to run a individual campaign with any site, but really I would love to run dozens and dozens over time. And the only way to, build that trust in us is that we have to consistently keep delivering good results over time. So we find that structure best aligns our incentives, whether that be primarily on social media, paid search, online click-based, or even some print proposals I put together in the past year. There's a lot of capabilities that we have to support that campaign structure, along with some exciting new AI-based partnerships coming within the next 6 months as well. So we're looking at incorporating AI coordinator and communication capabilities, as well as an AI protocol intelligence tool to expand the value that Rockstar can not only bring as identifying participants, but further supporting in a cost-efficient way the converting of participants as well. But what I really want to focus on as the new highlight for us here at Rockstar, that we've had great success with some of our larger site partners and site network partners, is our pre-pooling support. So this structure is a performance-based support, oftentimes best fit on a multi-site level, where I'll pull up a quick case study that highlights one example of how we've supported an organization that has a few key indications that they are having multiple protocols that they're recruiting for at a time, where you may have similar participants, you're recruiting for each protocol and doing, a general intake for those to decide which may be the best fit for them. So Rockstar has put together this structure that provides a cost consistent and performance consistent set number of pre-qualified participants delivered to you and your sites within a month or a quarter period. And really, a lot of the benefits of this is that it helps to, de-risk some of the parts of a recruitment campaign where results may be a little unsure sometime. This is how the Rockstar team can step up and say, we want to be an even further integrated partner with your organization. And this is how, we're taking a little bit of that performance side on ourselves to be able to, build an even deeper level of trust as well. So in this case study, We're running this structure with, a few of our partners, but this partner in particular has a national footprint of more than 10 sites. They've been a long-term partner of ours on our budget-based support for running those one-to-one campaigns, campaign to protocol structure. But the new structure that we've been running this year has had a bit greater than 5 key indications that we've been supporting them on that have changed over time. Not a rigid structure where you have to set it and stay with that for an extended period of time. But they came to us and said, we have these 5 key indications that we have a lot of protocols that we're supporting on. What can you do to help, de-risk a little bit of that? Getting in the proper volume of participants for all of the protocols across the board. So from that, we set up a structure where across the network, we were sending 1,200 total referrals with an individual mix of 100 per site, so that each site was getting that consistent amount that the partner wanted, but it was an individual mix that some had 100% of one indication, some had 20%, 20%, 20% of each indication, some 50-50, whatever the site's needs were, we were able to provide that flexible structure to get the pre-qualified participants in the door for them. So that pre-qualification was structured by our partner. They said, for each indication, we need these participants to go through this, questionnaire of 3 to 7 questions to be pre-qualified for our general intake process for the indication. And with that, we were able to set up an automatically updating reporting dashboard that not only gave the overall progress on those 1,200 referrals each month, but also a site-specific and an indication-specific breakdown of each, so that they had full visibility not only on how is the project each month going at large, but is each site getting the proper number? Is each indication across all sites getting the proper number? Is there a site where they're maybe not calling the participants as quickly and they have a little bit of a glut of participants sitting at that starting status that, we need to send a friendly little email to say, what can we do to support you to get these referrals in motion? So this has been an exciting structure for us because it allows us to take, a more in-depth approach that is fitting a very custom, unique need for each organization that we partner with. So it's far from a one size fits all. And when we're working with great partners within the CRIO ecosystem, we can take that one step even further by not just delivering these to the sites within our Let's Rock and Roll referral portal, but we can push those directly into each of the sites, individual CRIO areas as well too. So not only does it de-risk that part of volume of participants, but that next step with our great partnership with CRIO is making sure that they get to the place that they need to be contacted by the site team or the call center or whoever within your organization is the one who's taking those next steps there. So that's been something that has been new for us in the past year. That's very exciting. Last year was our first time at presenting at the CRIO Partner Expo. So it's my goal every year to talk about something new every time, so nobody's coming back year over year saying, John, I think I know what your presentation is going to be. So hopefully we have some exciting new updates to share next year as well. But I always like to just end with showing some visuals about our process and work as well. So finishing on that highlight of full end-to-end support, we can make your creative materials, run and optimize your campaigns, deliver your referrals. Every campaign of ours is inclusive of that. And we usually aim to have content packets turned around within 2 business days back to you when you have all approvals, like IRB approval to launch, able to launch within 1 business day as well. So time is something we always strive to be quick on and be leaders on. And that's some of the great feedback, we get from sites that we've worked with as well. So lasting thought, just that leaning in on the quality over quantity approach as well with our campaign budget to length basis and our budget-based structures. That's always been the core of our identity because we want to partner many times over. But I really feel like we've evolved and taken that next step with our pre-pooling support to say, we're not going to send you just as many as we can. We're going to send you the number that you need in the time and place and quality that you need as well. So I think I'm just about at time here. So I appreciate everybody for listening and coming to the presentation. And thank you to the CRIO team. And when the poll is going to be popping up or may have popped up for everybody already, we are excited to connect with any folks that we might be able to bring some value to going forward as well. All right, that's it for me today.
Thanks. All right, everyone, the poll is up. Feel free to fill it out and let John know if you'd like to connect with a member of their team. We'll leave the poll up for a few minutes. We're going to take a short 5-minute break and we will see you back at 12:05. All right, we are back. And for our next session, I'd like to introduce Kira Harris, Principal Consultant with Searchlight Research Consulting. Perfect. Thanks, Kira. Take it away. Kira, you might be on mute.
Okay, is that better?
Yes.
I feel better. I think I'm okay now. All right, thank you, everybody. I am super excited to be here today. I am a CRIO evangelist. I've been using CRIO since 2017, actually. So you can tell I am a hoot at dinner parties because I will talk to people about CRIO, whether they want to hear about it or not. So our group, Searchlight Research Consulting, offers support that we are here to help you do whatever it is you need to do. We are your, hey, can you take a look at this team? So I love the CRIO chat line, but sometimes we need a judgment call or some guidance, not just, how do we do this, but why should we do this? So our team has tons of different people from different kind of walks of life. So we have CRAs, we have site managers. I personally was a site manager and a coordinator for 15 years. People who have been coordinators using CRIO, regulatory specialists. And like I said, my CRIO experience goes back to 2017. We have eSource, eReg, finance, recruitment experts. We can support multi-site organizations, reviewer, and worldwide clients. And here's my credentials. This is a screenshot or a picture of a screen from 2021. I had actually texted this to my husband. This is the old CRIO Help Center. And their example documentation is a study that I made in about 2019. This is a Pfizer study, and I remember it very well. So I felt very honored that my source got used for an example. So our core services, number one is eSource. That's where everything begins and ends. So we are here to help you with new study builds, amendment updates. If you have an existing study and you're not sure that the financial build is working for you, we're happy to take a look through and make sure that everything is accounted for from your CTA. And then ongoing support. If you say, hey, I'd like to add an indication to this, you can just email us. We will take care of it. Everything is, customizable, but sometimes you're not sure what the best way is to customize it, and you want a little bit of backup there. Financial management, we can also negotiate your budgets and contracts, handle all of your invoicing, payment reconciliation, following up on outstanding items. And again, we can do an audit of your financial history and make sure that you've gotten everything that you should be getting. So And I'll talk a little bit more about our partnership with Zyrex. Do that in a moment. But one thing that I really love to do is to work with new sites. So sites who have just arrived on these shores and are kind of wondering, well, what do we do with everything that came before? So we're happy to just give advice. I always want people to do what's best for them. There are some studies it's worth it to transfer and some that it's not. So, that's definitely something to address on a study by study basis. And we can also help you with how do we actually integrate this into our clinic? How do we make this work for us instead of us working for it? And training, not everybody needs the same training. Some people will focus more on one area than another. So we also offer training customized to each individual person's job functions. And then we also offer fractional support, which is basically a really fancy temp agency that if you have say your regulatory coordinator is just getting overwhelmed and you need somebody to just jump in and help, for 10 hours a week, or someone is on maternity leave and you don't want to hire a replacement, but nobody else can do that, we can supply you with a staffer who will start immediately, jump in right away. They know what they're doing and they will keep you running. And this is really great for sites that are growing and maybe don't need a full-time person quite yet, and you want to kind of bridge that gap. And then this is just a really quick overview of some of the things that we can do and why. And this will be available for download if you guys want to look at this later, because I love to jam in information. I want to tell you as much as I can. So this is just some examples of when we could help either with PRN support, fractional support, or group or individual training sessions. And then, so we'll go over this very, very quickly. So if you have a new study, maybe you need eSource built, eReg, built out, have your template set up, have a communication with sponsors. We can do that PRN, or we can also just build the eSource and hand it off as a unit so that the source is ready when you are. If you are growing and you just need a little bit of help, you have some capacity gaps, we can offer fractional support, and it will be consistent. It'll be the same person every day to make sure that you're keeping up with your timelines. If you're getting some not so great monitoring reports, it might be time to have some internal QA. So this would be from one of our monitors that they know what they're looking for as a monitor, and they can do that internally so that your actual monitors never even know they were there. So catching errors and kind of identifying where things going wrong. If your staff is a little overwhelmed by their CRIO adoption, they want to love it, but they're just not sure where to begin. We can do training that's tailored just to their job role. So the CRIO Academy is amazing, but it's also very broad. And sometimes people want to know, okay, I just have this one situation that I deal with. How do I do it? And that's all they need to know. And then study amendments are a huge deal. We want to make sure that we're always keeping up with the latest, and we want to make sure that we're not creating more work for ourselves by having to go back. So as soon as you let us know about a study amendment that's coming, we're prepared for it. And as soon as you get IRB approval, we can swap in your updated source, update the finances, all of that, and keep you going without missing a beat. All right. And so this is something I am super excited to talk to you guys about. This is a new company that we have been working with for a few months now. So Zyrex is a software company that uses AI to essentially examine your CRIO reports and compare to your CTAs to figure out, hey, are there things you should have billed for and maybe didn't? So this is just a very small example of the kind of report that you get from Zyrex. That it's gone through everything in your CTA, looked at what's been invoiced, what needs to be invoiced, things that need to be chased up, and then things that you probably could bill for. We just need to make sure that it's actually there. So like Kristi was talking about, dry ice is something that piles up very, very quickly. And if you don't have it built correctly into your study from the beginning, if you don't put it on the invoice, it'll never get paid. So this is a way for us to very quickly check hundreds of transactions. If we see that some visit ones had dry ice paid, but some other visit ones did not have dry ice billed or paid, then that's something that we can add to the invoice, and your sponsor will pay it. So this is a really great thing to do when a study is getting to its end and that last invoice is kind of looming over you. Run this through Zyrex, see what happens. It's very, very likely that you've missed a good bit. Even the best team is not going to get every single thing because we are all human. And your coordinators may not have checked that box, or they might not have gone back and updated something. So this is a really great service to help you make sure that you're getting every last dollar. So the cost for this is percentage based of the money that's confirmed. So that would be that ready to invoice now box. We can also provide Searchlight staff to go through and manually verify that these things are actually invoiceable so that you end up with a single invoice for that study that you can email out today and get paid. But just in general, our goal is to support you. We want to make sure that you feel confident, that you feel like you got it. Like Superman and Lois Lane, that we hope that you feel like we've got you and you can do anything that you want to do because hey, if something gets weird, if I'm not sure what to do, I have somebody that I can call. So getting started with Searchlight is very simple. All of our pricing is very straightforward and almost everything is billed by the hour. So if you have a question once every 2 months, that's perfectly fine. We are happy to help as much or as little as you need it. So all of our clients are assigned a site management associate who is available every single day, unless she's on vacation, in which case you would get a different one. But generally speaking, she's going to get back to you within a couple of hours and address whatever it is immediately. If your site management associate is not able to answer it, we can pull in one of the other team. We have specialists in lots of different areas that if this is a long-term thing, we can assign them and we can solve the problem in whatever way, we work out with your team. And then, like I said, I like to jam a lot of things in here because I have so many things I want to tell you. There are so many little tricks that you want to keep a hold of and make sure that you are not missing things, particularly with financials. There are a lot of small details that are going to make a big difference. So this is going to, on the next slide, there is a download link so that you can download this and some other resources that we have available for you. But these are some of our top tips that when I meet with a new site or, even an existing site that is like, how can we use CRIO to make things easier for ourselves and create processes that work for us? These are some of the ways that you can do that, and some ways that you can get a little bit more out of your budgets, get a little bit more out of CRIO in general. CRIO is an amazing platform. Like I said, I've been using it since the back end of forever. And there are a lot of ways that sometimes you just don't think of to use. So if you would like an explanation of any of these, please DM me or email me. If you say, oh my gosh, this is something that would really, really help us, I am happy to tell you all about it, just in a DM or an email and help you out there. But our goal is that we have your back and we are going to support you in making the most out of your coordinators, out of your patients, out of your participation in studies, that there is the sky's the limit. So we want to support you in all of that. All right. This is my last slide. Thank you for coming to my CRIO talk. Um, I think that this link should work for you, but if not, it's pretty short. So we want to share some of the resources that we have come up with. So some of them are CRIO and some of them are ones that we have developed ourselves so that you can take a look at that. And this will also include this actual presentation as well as one I did about 4 years ago for Magi. Alrighty. So it looks like Nikki has put up the poll. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I love to talk shop. It is my most favorite thing in the entire world to do. So I would be very happy to, expand on any of those tips as well.
Thanks, Kira. We love your passion and enthusiasm clearly for this industry and for helping sites. And we love that you're a CRIO proponent. So thank you so much for being a partner. Feel free to let Kira know if you'd like information or would like to talk to her or her team in the poll. And we will meet back at 12:25 Eastern.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Let's move on to our next session, second to last of the day. It's my pleasure to introduce Christine Zheng, CEO of Interra.
Okay, amazing. Hi everyone, I'm Christine. I'm the founder of Interra, and we're proud to be an official CRIO partner. This is our first year presenting. I entered clinical research from a Harvard and AI background, and it's now almost been exactly a year since we've started building in this space. And over that time, I've probably spoken with hundreds of people across the industry, from coordinators to investigators, and I've come to realize the hardest recruitment problem isn't only just finding potential participants. Sites often already have interested patients. What they do not have is unlimited time to contact every lead immediately, follow up consistently, answer every question, and keep every appropriate patient moving towards a visit. And so that's why we've built Interra, to help clinical research teams turn the patients they already have into scheduled study visits without adding more repetitive work for your coordinators. And so yeah, your next participant may already be in your database. When recruitment is behind, the instinct is often to generate more leads, but many sites already have hundreds or thousands of potential participants across ads, referrals, past inquiries, and historical databases. Some were contacted once and never reached again. Some expressed interest but got busy. Some started pre-screens but didn't finish, and others may now qualify for a different study. These participants are not necessarily uninterested. The issue is usually capacity, not demand. And so before spending more on acquisition, sites should be able to fully work the leads that they already have. Interra helps sites engage those existing and incoming leads, identify matches, and move appropriate patients towards enrollment through automated voice and SMS outreach. For initial deployments, we can also start with something that's more low risk, with a list of dead leads or a smaller subset of patients, for example. And again, the constraint is not effort. Coordinators are already doing an extraordinary amount of work. Each lead triggers a chain of tasks: responding, calling back, texting, answering questions, completing pre-screening, doing documentation, following up, and scheduling visits. And at the same time, coordinators are also running visits, managing documentation, communicating with sponsors, and supporting enrolled patients. And because recruitment volume is not always predictable, campaigns can generate spikes that staffing can't instantly absorb. And so that's how missed calls, delayed follow-ups, and unanswered messages accumulate. And so that's what Interra is here for. We add capacity for the repetitive work. I want to mention that we're incredibly customizable. Also, we understand that every indication, every protocol, every study is different. And so our outreach, reminders, follow-ups, scheduling, we take control in all of that and make it specific to your study so that coordinators can still stay in control of the study and patient relationship. And so, like I mentioned before, we create tailored AI recruitment agents per study. And so for straightforward deployments, sites can use our self-serve workflow. We onboard every site, walk them through how to do it exactly, but all you need to do is upload your protocol, your scripts, any other approved materials, and we automatically generate a configured agent for review. Teams can test it, adjust messaging and logic, and approve it before launch without a long implementation cycle. But self-serve doesn't mean unsupported. We stay closely involved, especially for studies requiring complex screening or escalation logic. And so on the right are performance ranges based off of some of our deployments and ongoing pilots. For example, automated follow-up can engage 2 to 5 times more leads than manual outreach alone. Consistent immediate engagement can increase scheduled visits by 25 to 50% depending on the study and population. And automation of outreach, logging, and scheduling can reduce up to 90% of repetitive coordinator workload. And the other thing I want to mention is we can also make sure that we reach out to every single lead when the lead is still warm. And so first outreach can happen in under 5 minutes while patient intent is still high. One of the most important capabilities I want to mention is continuity across both interactions and languages. And so when we first started building the tool, a lot of the questions that we had was how does this agent retain context throughout conversations? And like real patients, like patients don't experience recruitment as separate calls or texts. They experience one ongoing conversation. So a patient might prefer text, ask about transportation later, or only be available in the evenings. And so that context matters. And so what Interra does is carry that context forward, so each interaction builds on the last instead of restarting. So for example, if a patient says like, hey, I prefer to be called at 5 p.m. in the afternoons, our agent automatically takes that information and does follow-ups to that patient at that time zone. Coordinators can also see the full history, what was said, what's unresolved, and what needs attention. They can also get the history once we escalate to the phone number also. So if a patient at any point says, hey, I want to talk to a real person, we'll give the coordinator a context of what the patient is asking for before the call and automatically route it. And so the goal here is for patients to not have to repeat themselves, and coordinators do not have to rebuild context from scratch. This continuity also extends across languages. Interra supports over 20 languages, including Spanish, French, Mandarin, Russian, and Vietnamese. And so the key is not just the translation, it's the same study logic, the screening rules, and patient history remaining intact no matter what language. This also allows sites to reach more of their communities without duplicating recruitment workflows. The other thing I want to mention is you don't have to configure every single language before. Our agent will automatically detect when someone is speaking Spanish or Mandarin and change that language automatically. Interra is also not trying to replace judgment or clinical oversight. So we automate the repeatable work, the outreach, the reminders, structured questions, follow-ups, and scheduling. But when uncertainty arises, a ambiguous response, a sensitive question, or a protocol edge case, it escalates to the site with full context. We also test extensively before deployment. For example, for a depression study, we ran scenario-based testing covering edge cases like self-harm risk signals, hesitation in older patients, unclear responses, and escalation triggers. We also support cross-study routing. If there are patients that may qualify for multiple studies, we also do A/B testing of outreach scripts and iterative optimization of messaging and workflows to continuously improve the performance across different study designs. And so the goal is not to see if the system can follow a script, but how it behaves in real-world variability. And so our philosophy is simple. We want to automate the routine work, test the complexity, and make sure everything it considers the variability before deploying it, recognizes uncertainty, and escalates to a human when judgment is required. And so next we have a demo of what
Hi, Alex, this is Vera,
an
an AI
experience looks like. The agent is configured with approved study information, pre-screening logic, and escalation rules. So as you listen, there are a few things to notice. Like first, it's conversational. It's not a rigid questionnaire. Second, it can answer approved study questions while guiding the pre-screen. Third, it escalates when responses are unclear or sensitive. I may end it a little bit short depending on time, but keep in mind that this is the patient-facing experience.
And calling on behalf of Metro Clinical Research about the bipolar 1 disorder study you expressed interest in. Do you have a couple of minutes to see if you might be a fit?
Yeah, how'd you get my number again?
You signed up on clinicaltrials.gov. That's where we got your contact info. It's HIPAA protected and only used to follow up about this study. You can ask us to remove your info anytime by calling 83945822125. Quick note, this call is being recorded for quality and training purposes. If you'd rather not be recorded, just say the word and I'll move you to a non-recorded line. Let's get started. How old are you?
I'm 30 years old. How much does this study pay?
Thanks for letting me know you're 30. If you're eligible and decide to join, you could receive up to $1,590 for your time and travel while helping advance research for bipolar depression. Have you been diagnosed with bipolar 1 disorder by a healthcare provider?
Yes.
Got it, thanks. Are you currently experiencing a depressive episode or symptoms of depression?
Yeah, it's been a real bad and really difficult for me these past few weeks. I've been feeling very down.
I really appreciate you sharing that, Alex. It sounds like things have been incredibly tough for you lately. Just a couple more questions to check fit. Have you participated in another clinical trial or received an investigational medication within the past 3 months?
No.
All right, thanks for letting me know. Based on what you've shared, you may qualify for the study. The next step is an in-person screening visit with our study team to confirm eligibility. I have appointments available. Is there a particular day or time that works best for you?
Monday and Wednesday mornings generally work best for me. What do I bring to the site? Do you have to bring my ID?
Thanks for sharing your availability Monday and Wednesday mornings. For your screening visit, you should bring a valid photo ID, like a driver's license or state ID. The study team may also ask about your medical history and current medications. So it's helpful to have a list of those if you can. Let me check the next available Monday and Wednesday mornings for appointments. Does next Monday, August 10th or Wednesday, August 12th in the morning work for you?
Yeah, let's do next Wednesday at 11 a.m.
This will just take a sec. Perfect, you're scheduled. I'll send you a confirmation with our address and appointment details. We look forward to seeing you.
Okay, great. So what you just heard is the patient-facing layer. Keep in mind that behind it, Interra is preserving all of the context, the answers, preferences, any unresolved questions, so the next interaction continues seamlessly instead of restarting. We also have our own CRM in the dashboard, so you can see exactly what happened in every interaction. Everything is auditable and trackable. And so yeah, sites shouldn't have to choose between heavy enterprise implementations and unsupported tools. Interra combines self-serve speed with study-specific support. So for example, for simple studies, teams can upload a protocol, configure the agent, do the testing immediately in our platform, and test it pretty quickly. For more complex studies, we work directly with the site on configuration, any QA testing, and escalation design. As a CRIO partner, you can also connect recruitment workflows into the existing systems, and for qualifying pilots, we handle that integration at no cost. And so we've designed our model around how research sites actually operate. So we don't charge setup fees in most cases, and when we do, they are minimal and only needed. For qualifying pilots, CRIO integration is also included at no cost. You start with one active study, define the success upfront, and deploy a single bounded workflow. Like I mentioned, we can also do cross-study routing and A/B testing across multiple scripts. And in week 1, we configure and test the agent around the protocol, the messaging, screening logic, scheduling, and escalation rules. So you can configure things like what voice you would like to use, how many outreach attempts, what phone number to escalate to. And over the following weeks, Interra will run the workflow while we measure outcomes like outreach speed, lead coverage, pre-screen completion, scheduled visits, and coordinator time saved. And then at day 30, we review the results together. And if it works, we expand. If it doesn't, you can stop cleanly. And so pricing is also designed for independent and community sites, not just large networks. There are no setup fees, no forced enterprise rollout. We have to earn the expansion. And so it seems like we've ended a little bit early, but my ask today is pretty simple. If you have one study in mind, feel free to reach out to me on the QR code to schedule a meeting to chat directly with me or email Christine@treinterra.com. I think the best fit is an actively recruiting study with existing or incoming leads so your team doesn't have to work through consistently. And for qualifying pilots, we handle the CRIO integration at no additional cost, and there's no requirement to make an enterprise-wide commitment before Interra has demonstrated value. We can show you how quickly it can become a working recruitment agent and how carefully it can be tested. Yeah, if you give us one difficult study, 30 days, let us show what's possible: faster patient outreach, higher pre-screen completion, more scheduled visits, and significantly less coordinator time spent on repetitive follow-ups, so your team can focus on the patients who are actually ready to enroll. Yeah, I think you'll see a poll on your screen, but thank you, Nikki, and super excited to be a part of this exhibition.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Christine. And yes, there is a poll on your screen. Please feel free to indicate if you'd like someone from Interra to reach out to you, or if you'd like to just receive more resources or info on their solution. We have one more session coming up for the day, and that will be from Trial IQ. We'll do a 5-minute break, so grab a cup of coffee, go to the restroom, and join us back in 5 for our last session. All right, last session to close out day 1 of the Partner Expo. We have Trial IQ, Suri Gupta, the co-founder and clinical trial officer, will be presenting. Are you here, Suri?
Hey.
Hi. Okay, go ahead.
So I have a couple slides and then I can go into a quick demo of the platform and then I can open up to any questions, time permitting. Okay, so great to meet, sorry. So great to meet everyone. My name is Suri Gupta. I am one of the co-founders of Trial IQ and serve as the Chief Technology Officer. Um, I could probably gloss over the problem. I think everyone is pretty well aware of what the problems are within clinical trials. 5% of US physicians run clinical trials. A lot of them are concentrated within academic centers and hospital systems. And of course, the statistic of 500K daily cost of delays attributed to recruitment and trying to find eligible patients, and then less than 10% of eligible patients are ever considered for trials. And of course, that's attributed to majority of patients getting their care outside of major academic sites and hospital systems, where the majority of trials are being run. So what our platform does is we call ourselves the enablement layer, enable community practices and infusion centers and practices all the way from research naive that have never run a trial before, but they have patient populations and they want to offer that as a care option, all the way to research mature practices to help to kind of optimize their operations and introduce them to new opportunities. So our platform helps to enable those practices to get either involved in research or more involved in research. And we consolidate that with a couple key attributes. One of them is our research readiness score. So we have a score that is patent pending, where we can consider, and you'll see it in the demo, staffing information, staff qualifications, infrastructure, procedures, study history, all of that into a readiness score that we'll present to sponsors so that sponsors can consider, sites that they never used before to run their trials at. AI-based, matching automation. You guys have heard probably a couple different companies that are doing that. we, mine with the EHR records. So we go through diagnosis, demographics, procedures, medications, lab orders. We also go through the chart notes, and in a couple of months, we are launching our ability to parse through documents to be able to match patients to particular protocols that are either user submitted or that we would be able to find and source for them through various different partnerships with other data aggregators and trial aggregators, as well as clinicaltrials.gov and other public databases. And the benefit is for us, especially, we're connected with two very large EHRs. One of them is within the community practice space, and one of them is within the infusion center space. So with that, we get direct access to patients that can be tapped into both as an organization internally, so you can tap your own patient population, identify them, as well as identify patients outside of your network that can potentially be brought into your site to conduct research, because we have that level of footprint with our EHR partners. And I can go into more details if there's any questions, I can answer those questions. This is what the product looked like, and this will be a segue into going into the demo. In the trial matching dashboard, you can discover, see open trials, see how individual patients are matched to the trials. We have a patient engagement where you can send text message emails. We'll have pre-filled, pre-created templates that are IRB approved or generic that can, in a couple of clicks, send out a notification to all the patients that are qualified for the trial and inform them that, hey, you may be qualified for this trial, and either send it back internally or send it out to a existing site. And on the clinic operations side, ensuring that personnel, training, infrastructure is all maintained and all up to date. Site coordination, documentation is all centralized in one place. We are integrated with CRIO, so there's a lot of automations going back and forth on that front, especially on the individual patient side, patient updates, and also infrastructurally information. And then being able to monitor enrollment and performance and site health across multiple locations. So we have an individual location view as well as a network view, so that if you have multiple sites across a lot of different areas, you can very quickly glance and see, okay, which sites are performing, which ones aren't performing, people aren't doing their GCP training, people aren't uploading the certificates. All that you can very easily see in the dashboard. So with that, I will switch into the demo. Cool. So this is what the application looks like. This is a high-level dashboard. Total revenue generated, number of active trials, patients enrolled, patients matched, outreach rate, enrollment rate. This is what an individual location would see. And of course, at the network view, it'll be an aggregate of multiple locations. Site health, staff compliance, training, screen failure rates, trial staff coverage, patient pipeline. So this is information that we would synchronize with CRIO for actively enrolled, screen failures, patients withdrawn, other patient statuses, trial pipeline overview, how many have been contacted, screened, enrolled, what the targets are, new trials and discovery, quick actions, recent activity. So just aggregates of all the different other aspects of the platform. Going into clinical trials, and I'm kind of speeding because we only have 15 minutes, but going into trial discovery. So this is where we would be able to present trials that are matched to the patient population for the physicians or for the admin or for the research staff to evaluate. And you can see, okay, there's 46 eligible patients, they're 90% match. And this is 46 patients that don't just match the migraine ICD-10 code, but it goes through the inclusion exclusion criteria for that particular study. So even before the study is activated or considered, all of that is presented here prior to engagement. So the site has full awareness and full understanding of, okay, this is what the patient population looks like for this study. Does it make sense for me to participate or not? If you request information, that sends a message to our customer success team that will connect your location to the sponsor, CRO, site network, whoever is helping to conduct the trial. So it's completely up to the practice which trials they want to be involved in. We don't the full control is within the practice themselves. We are able to We don't take any part of the study budget. You negotiate directly with the CROs and the sponsors. We just help to provide the opportunities and give visibility into the opportunities that are available for that patient population. You can also add studies. So if you're conducting feasibility for a trial that you saw on, social media, or there's a sponsor that reached out to you and asked, okay, how many patients do you have for this or that? You can upload, you can either look it up by the NCT code, or you can upload the protocol document directly here, and it will be able to run that feasibility and tell you the exact number of patients that you have that are qualified from the EHR level. When trials are activated, then it goes into this tab where you have the ability to individually see how patients are qualified. So, for example, Maria Garcia, inclusion criteria, exclusion criteria, the value from the EHR, the date of that record. So, for traceability or for ability to go back and get additional context with this particular patient, you have that full visibility to do so. And we are, depending on the particular EHRs, we are rolling out in a couple months, being able to link directly back into the patient's chart within the EHR as well. Here you have all the trial details, criteria, pre-screening questions, procedures, documents, external contacts for the study, internal contacts for the study, notes. All that is organized within here. You can message the 29 patients that are remained contact, select all, initial enrollment invitation, subject, and patient name, phone number, all that would be filled in. And you can do email, text message, phone call, whatever is the preference for that particular organization. You could schedule it as well. Going to patient management, this is essentially the same view, just more patient-centric. So if you want to look up an individual patient and see, John Smith, they're coming in today, which trial that they're matched to, how are they matched, are there any action items that are required, and be able to facilitate communication to that patient. And be able to add comments for that individual patient. And we really want to emphasize that physician-patient relationship, being able to educate the physician, educate the patient through trusted channels versus, social media or cold calling and things like that. We really want to rely on that patient-physician relationship to be able to educate the patient on whether it's a good idea or not to join a trial. Because they could be 100% match on a particular trial on the EHR side, but if they don't have a medical necessity or they don't have a reason, they're completely stable on their current medication or current treatment plan, then it doesn't make sense for them to be on a trial. And we want to be cognizant of that, and we want them to make that decision with their physician. Going into clinic operations, this is where it's almost like a report card for the site. We'll collect the staff information. When did they start, certifications, area of focus. This area of focus helps us to tailor which trials are presented to the practice. So, for example, with Dr. Sarah Chen, her area is neurology, specifically Alzheimer's. So we would try to find opportunities directly for her for Alzheimer's disease and be able to see the personal study history because people move around. So being able to get the study history from the organization itself as well as the individual. Infrastructure, what equipment is present, what are the statuses for that particular equipment, where it's located, when was it last validated, what technologies are there, facilities, exam room 1, exam room 2, what's in those exam rooms, is it available for a trial or is it not? Training, being able to see, okay, this GCP certification, who has their certificates updated, when is it expired, who's already expired, who hasn't uploaded it. So it becomes a central repository. So if anyone ever asked for Dr. Michael Thompson's GCP certification, okay, it's not in there. So that's going to be a ding. You need to reach out to Dr. Thompson and either get him to do the GCP certification or get him to upload it. But if someone is asking for Dr. Sarah Chen's, you could just click here and download the document, send it to whoever. Patient population overview, total active patients, overall demographics, EHR data availability, that's all present here. What procedures are physically done at the location versus referred, so that a sponsor knows that's evaluating your site. They know that, okay, for lumbar puncture, for example, they don't do it physically on site, but they have a reliable partner that is nearby and they've used before for lumbar puncture. Study history, performance metrics, IP management, site information, all that is managed in here as the central source of truth. And again, this serves two functions. One is to help Trial IQ to help coordinate with sponsors and give visibility to sites to sponsors that are considering your patient population, your PIs, your infrastructure to become a site, as well as for the sites themselves to be able to be able to answer feasibility questionnaires and generate a report. You can pick and choose what you want in there and generate a PDF or a Word document and just send that directly to the sponsor that covers all your capabilities and capabilities and features of your site. And then we have a marketplace that has other potential partners. So, for example, if you need a EDC, or if you're looking for another digital testing device for screening, or you're looking for a consultant to help with this, or that, we're building out this marketplace to hopefully be one of the first places you look for any support services. I think that's almost 15 minutes. But I'll leave the last bit of time for any questions or any thoughts or comments or anything.
Thank you so much, Suri. Yes, the poll is up. Feel free to let Suri know if you'd like to connect with their team. But that concludes day one of the Partner Expo. But let me give you a quick preview of day two. Let me share my screen. All right. So day one, of course, we just saw great presentations from Triley, from Clinical Research Billing, from Research Study Rockstar, from Searchlight Consulting, Interra, and finally Trial IQ. Day two is an exciting day of 6 presentations. We have, I'll scroll down here. We have Anato, who's going to talk about their AI chart review and how it automates patient matching. So sites are spending more time enrolling and less time on the hunting chart review part. Delpha is going to talk about how sites used a playbook to keep patients interested and moving throughout the recruitment funnel. They're going to share a real life case study. And Patient Ace is going to talk about their virtual recruitment manager service and how they source pre-qualified patients through ads. Also an integrated workflow with CRIO. We have UniTri team. They're going to talk about how their expert consultants can unburden your coordinators with data migrations, technical support, so that your team can stay focused again on the patients and not the paperwork. ClinRoll is also tomorrow. They will talk about their recruitment workflow, how they're fueling the recruitment workflow and getting you high quality leads as well, and converting them through the funnel. And then we have Double Blind Bio. So Shruti is going to talk about their automated feasibility workflow and how they use CRIO data to actually give accurate feasibility estimates. So tomorrow we have a great lineup. Today you saw how partners were tackling patient enrollment, conversion, operational pain points. Tomorrow, you will see 6 different ways to tackle those problems. As you know, it's not a one-size-fits-all situation with partners and sites. So we're happy to have such a wide variety of partners that can serve different types of sites and different needs. So the partners tomorrow, some of them are using AI, some of them have expert consultants, and some of them are actually using CRIO's BigQuery data access. And this is actually a new offering for partners, and that allows CRIO sites to enable secure CRIO data access sharing to partners to make things like feasibility and network-wide oversight more accurate, more efficient. And I'm excited for you guys to see that new offering tomorrow. So come back at this time. Well, not this time, it'll end at this time, but tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern. These times on the website are in Central, so I know that can be confusing. We'll go ahead and update them today to align with the Zoom webinar times, but these are in Central right now. So tomorrow, 11 Eastern, please come back and meet us for another great day of sessions. Feel free to reach out to crio.partners@clinicalresearch.io. If you weren't able to answer a poll, you'll get the recordings today in an email. So if you missed any sessions, you can look back and connect with partners and see their demos. So we'll see you back tomorrow. Thanks, everyone.